So I looked at BTC today and I realised the level I called for a reaction from has really only gone and fucking been the high. I don't know how I do it, guys. It's like a gift. Look at this tiny reaction that I was playing for and then went ahead and cancelled the order. And look at where it is now. Never mind. That's okay. Let's just revisit crude oil because it's the only market related action that I've had today. It's really the only thing that I want to talk about as we come into the end of EFL. You can obviously watch the execution of this. It has been posted to the website. I'm glad that this is the trade that I've left you with because it really is a very, very good one. You might have been able to tell when I was talking about it setting up how keen I was on it. And I was saying we have so many things going on. We have the break through the head of the hammer, so we thrust up through there, close back down through it. Oftentimes what you'll find is the market will come to revisit the head of the hammer, sell off from there and break the hammer low. But the head of the hammer was also prior lows on the daily. And then what you see is we've got a thrust candle, which is a large, wide-ranging candle that closed through the level, and you get an inside day just beneath the level. And that is something that you want to look at going forward because it is such a high probability setup. It's one of my favourite plays when you break the high of an inside day into old lows, and especially when you've got the context of the weekly and the daily giving you an area to look to trade from. And you line all of that up with the level on the hourly, and then of course the 38% fib, which I told you is uncannily good in crude oil. And we traded straight into that level. I got filled very early this morning. Straight away we got down through the range highs, and initially I moved my stop to the high of this candle. Principally I did that because we closed down through again this high that I'd originally marked out as being the FTA. The FTA developed since then, but you can see the interplay between this high at 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday the 30th of September and then this low also from Monday the 30th of September today, and I moved the stop to the high of that candle. And of course that meant that I was then at break even. Fucking hell, I don't know why this market's doing it to me. I honestly don't know why it's doing it to me, because it just seems like every time I move my stop lately it's at break even, and it's not supposed to be like that. But look, there's a technical reason for moving it, and I mean, you can't make this shit up. The stop was literally at break even. I don't know what to say. Anyway, so we then saw the pullback to the low of that 7 to 8 a.m. candle, and again that inflection point. So we'd made the low and then we broke that, returned to it, sold off from there, and then we had an area of support in here. It's only a minor area, but when we closed down through it there, I watched the market pull back on the next hourly candle to the low of this indecision candle and again begin to move to the lows. So I then moved my stop to the high of this candle here, and I got taken out. And you'll see again how frustrating exits can be sometimes, because if you look at the recording and then you look at what happened afterwards, you'll see that it took me out and it traded one tick past my stop and then immediately collapsed. And I thought, oh, fuck me, you know, the market's found me, it's taken me out of the high, now it's going to go straight to target. But no, then it came back very aggressively, and it is now hovering around about the same price I got out at, more or less, slightly lower. The only point to note about this trade is, although I came in with an initially wide target, which was one tick below the low of the weekly because of that pattern failure there, I did say in the recording I posted to the website where I execute on this trade that I moved the target up to one tick beneath the inside day low. So I decided to chunk this trade and essentially exit at the inside day low if it got there, and then potentially look afterwards to see if it got through there and accepted through there. I could consider trading a rounded retest to go for the bigger target. But the reason I was looking to get out there is because we'd taken one side of the inside day, closed back within the range, and you can see that that inside day low, which would be a forcing point on the other side of the range, was also right where ATR was for the day. So I really wasn't expecting it to go through there aggressively. So I thought, again, I'll get out there. If it breaks it and comes back, With a retest, I'll get in again. But ultimately, I ended up with 70 ticks on this and a 1.23R. So once I was out of this trade, this went into the edge wonk that I showed you last night. Again, this is a hypothetical balance down here. This is not the amount I've made on the month. I am trading a little larger than this. But just as a point of interest, if you have a look at the chart lab and the exit analysis, we mentioned this last night, and I was saying when you enter trades into your journal and you start to see the metrics build out, you'll notice themes and you'll start to have ideas. And I know that based on my large sample size of trades over the years, my stops are about right. But if this was you, and this was your results, and this was a statistically significant sample size and not just 10 trades, you'd have a really interesting theme here, which is the fact that you can see that the trades that hit target are not going even 50% of the way to my stop. And even this crude oil trade, again, you can see that it drew down 17% of the way to the stop before moving into profit considerably, 76% of the way to the target, and then me getting hit here on the trailing stop as marked by this little black diamond. But again, if that was a statistically significant sample size, you would be able to see from that your stops are too wide. And you'd be able to realise that if you cut your stop size in half, your return would increase massively. So things like that are very interesting and one of the things that you can take away from journaling. So your question, Jeremy, you wouldn't sell crude on the retest below ATR despite the weekly bias, is that correct? Yes, I wouldn't have sold it underneath there today. So even if it did close through here, then I'd think about coming in on Tuesday and looking for a rounded retest of this level from below, which incidentally I will consider going forwards. I mean, this will be a level that I will look at once I've left you all to your own devices. I will be sitting here watching this area very carefully. So a clean breakthrough here, a rounded retest with space, and I'll be trying to play for the second part of this trade down to this low. On the weekly, it does very much look like that will happen, but now it's a question of just waiting to see what the price action offers. So Mike, your question of how long will a weekly bias last for? Until it either hits the target or it invalidates. So for a weekly bias like this that's based on pattern failure, it would be either until we trade below the low of this hammer or we get another close above the hammer high. Because once you see a close below it, you shouldn't really get another weekly close above it. So if we did get a weekly close above it, then I would move on from that bias. But while that's still in play, I'm still bearish. And again, even the daily looks somewhat bearish here. So if you are short, then the signs look promising so far, but it just didn't follow through for me. So I'm out. I've got my 1.23R. I'm okay with that. It brings my performance on the month to just over 11R. So it is the last night of EFL tonight, and really I just wanted to thank you all so much for attending, and it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to all of you and sharing my trading style with all of you. And honestly, if you take one thing away from EFL, it would be have a proper process, commit to the work, understand your edge inside out and back to front, and try to resist the urge to fall for every advert that the market tries to sell you. Wait for the market to maneuver itself into a position where you feel that there is real edge in trading it. There's no need to overtrade. Just talking about the swing strategy, which is what most people trade, and that's coming no lower than the hourly time frame. We haven't even covered bunds, but just on this swing strategy, I've made 11R this month with a max 1R drawdown across 10 trades. And I've only traded on 6 out of 21 trading days this month. That's a ratio of about 1 trade every 3 days. And I've taken 11R out of it with minimal work. The rest of the time has been spent either with my family or the odd few days where I've been sitting here and, as it happens, nothing's transpired. But I really think there's a lesson in how patient I've been, and it hasn't been easy, especially because you've got an audience. I'm used to this on my own, trading this way, but when you've got so many people and you're saying, guys, today's a live day, we're going to trade the market, and then you're sitting there for fucking 2 long sessions and saying, well, there's a level up here and there's a level down here, but there's nothing to do yet. You start to think this can't be very entertaining for people, and you sort of want action. But at the end of the day, I know my edge. I know what works and what doesn't. And I can't tell when you're going to get these trades. I mean, like I said last night, the crude oil limit's in. It's going to be a great trade. We'll get something out of it. And that's exactly what happened. Yes, it didn't get to target, so it certainly could have been better. But it delivered. It delivered on its high probability setup. I managed to get, like I say, 1.23R out of it. And that's what I do. I wait patiently. And yes, I wish a trade like that had come along on the live day. It didn't, but it is what it is. Once you isolate these setups, you've just got to wait for them to come along and be ready for them when they do. A lot of the time that comes down to being prepared and also having the right mindset to be able to step up and take these trades when they occur. I mean, if you can get even close to this kind of performance for 6 months consistently, then you could certainly apply to the prop firm I'm at, which is what I've had so many questions about. And speaking of Rain, a lot of people have asked me about what kind of performance that Rain want to see in order to get a position trading their capital. And they'd certainly look for you to have some skin in the game, to not be on demo. They'd look for you to be somewhat active, a few times a week. Minimum is fine on average. That's not to say you can't make money being less frequent, but obviously if you've got periods of several weeks on end with no trades, like you're a real position trader, then that probably wouldn't be quite the right fit. But the most important thing is good returns relative to drawdown. If you look at my returns, again, it's only 10 trades, but it's been a month of trading on this swing strategy. It's 11R return with max 1R drawdown. Now, if you tracked me for more than a month, you'd see that I have bigger peak to trough drawdowns than 1R. But my point is that's the kind of thing that they're looking at. What are you making versus how much you're drawing down, so your overall return to risk ratio. I was speaking with Ryan earlier. He's actually in here now. I'm just going to make him an organizer. Hold on 1 second. I think that should work. And he was saying that Rain has been inundated with applications, but the vast majority don't have any track record at all. And if they do submit one, it's very sparse, like a couple of weeks or sometimes even a few months. And the issue with that is you can't tell whether those results are down to luck or simply being able to trade one market condition that might change in the future, because the market's always transitioning from trending to trendless, high volatility to low volatility, and so on and so forth. So it goes through these different phases, and some people are very adept at trading one phase. They make good profit and give it all back, and that's why a lot of the time you see people saying, oh, I've got a track record of a month, and you're thinking, why is that so short? But it's because they've absolutely crushed it for a month and then probably given it back, or at least that's what the skeptical side of you thinks. Funnily enough, when I got on the desk at Rain, Ryan and I had a chat about bringing on more traders, and his verdict was essentially that the best way to do it was to potentially have assessments of performance. The traditional recruitment process of finding traders with statements just doesn't work that well for finding raw talent. And Ryan was the partner of a prop firm called Apteros, which did run assessments, and it backed traders with live capital if they passed. But when he told me about Rain potentially running assessments, knowing the current state of the prop industry, I was like, no one's doing that. And he was like, we'll offer it as an alternative route to sending in a track record, but we'll do it better than anyone out there and essentially create a real, proper, remote prop firm. So although Rain is still willing to take people on and back them with significant capital if they have a track record, they are going to go down the route of providing a paid assessment, and then if you pass, you get the fees refunded and you get a place on the desk. But the way they'll be different I believe, talking with Ryan, has the potential to be a real game changer. So, I mean, Ryan can speak more about this, but just to let you know that they are aiming to give live capital if you pass and scale you very aggressively. There's not going to be any restrictive rules. They'll let you hold overnights. There'll be no trailing drawdowns. There'll be no limit on how much you can profit in a day. No consistency rules. None of this shit that's designed to make assessments unnaturally hard to pass. And Ryan was telling me that they'll be offering the lowest commissions in the industry with CME member rates, because most of these firms out there that charge you to access capital absolutely rape you on commissions when you're trying to pass an assessment. And at the same time, taking it back to the days of traditional bricks and mortar prop firms where once you're in a firm, you're not just an unknown. There's a team of people that are trying to help develop you, mentors, risk managers, in-house experts to help you refine your approach, to help you optimize your performance. That to me is a prop firm. These current firms that you see out there are not what I think of as prop. Very few give you live capital if you pass their assessment. They don't scale you properly. And I honestly believe that at best, they don't care if you become a successful trader. And at worst, they don't even want you to pass, so you can just keep paying them fees. These days, I see all these kinds of arbitrary rules being implemented by firms, like trailing drawdowns, knocking people out of the market, and then some people manage to get through and they get their withdrawals rejected. And I mean, it's just a churn and burn model, and it sounds horrendous. And it's a bit sad because so many people out there on socials call themselves prop traders, and then they sort of show one of these funded firms and they think they're a prop trader, and I don't think they know what real prop is. And personally, I think Rain will change that. Fucking hell, I feel like I've just stolen your thunder, Ryan. I said to Ryan, come on and have a chat with everyone. I've just taken the mic. Are you there, Ryan?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've got you.
I mean, like, what is there left to say after after that? It's kind of hard to follow.
Yeah.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like you look around at the industry and it's like, okay, we want to do something in traditional prop, but how can we recruit talent? We've had the website up for a few months. We've recruited some incredible traders, yourself included.
Oh, nice of you to say.
And the fact is we need more traders, right? And we've had this request for an invitation up for many months. We've had hundreds of applications, and the reality is that most of the people who are applying, they just simply don't have any track record. So yeah, I saw some other questions. Yeah, I was a partner with Merritt Black at Apteros, so yes, that is correct, Alex. I'm no longer there. And so we're trying to take Rain back to traditional prop, right? So we do have this, we call it an assessment model. There is a lot of validity to that as a recruiting process, and the way that the current industry is in terms of the funded trader business, it's a lot of shit. Like I personally despise the industry and what it's become. It's full of gimmicks and tricks and just trying to trip people up. It's like Tom said, it's a churn and burn model. These guys, they actually don't want you to pass their assessments. They want you to trip up. And then, if you do happen to make it through their rapid evaluation or whatever, you'll get onto the desk and then you'll request a payout. And then, you see this on Twitter every single day. Oh, you violated, Section 4.3 of the T's and C's, and you did that 2 months ago, but we didn't bother telling you, and now you're not getting your payout. And so we said, all right, let's look around at all of these funded trader programs because, again, there's validity there to identify raw talent without a track record. And unfortunately, the moment that you say that you're going to have an assessment, you're going to have an evaluation, you automatically get lumped in with these fake sim trading firms that call themselves prop firms, but they're really nothing like a traditional prop firm. And we're trying to change that. So, for example, I saw a tweet earlier today talking about the top 10 traders at Top Step made roughly, let's say, $100,000 for the year, guys. $100,000 for the year. I mean, we want you to have $100,000 days, not $100,000 years. The fact is that, you know, a lot of guys who've been exposed or recently entered the quote unquote prop trading industry, they just don't understand that prop it's essentially in my estimation, it's this. And Tom, you can correct me if you want to add to this or you know,
Yep.
but it's a few things. It's a few pillars, right? It's infrastructure, resources, and environment. If you're a good trader, sure, you can get capital, right? But that's not prop. Prop does not just mean money, okay? You're still going to be isolated. You're still going to be operating on retail tools. You're still not going to be around bigger traders who are, you know, working with you to grow your, you know, improve your edge and grow your trading. You're not going to have the infrastructure and the resources there to scale you up and really turn this into a career. Like essentially the industry now, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, has become this race to the bottom, this sort of, let's say, commoditization of access to capital. And it's like, okay, I'll join this funded trader program. I'll pay $30 and I'll blow an account. I'll buy 10 of them. I'll blow, you know, half of them, and I will, you know, I'll go balls deep on all the contracts that I can on, you know, these 2 accounts, and then maybe I'll pass one and rent is due, and therefore I will YOLO my contracts on NQ and try to make rent this month. And that's just completely the wrong mindset for you know, for professional trading. So what we're trying to do is obviously provide the resources, so capital, you know, scaling traders based on performance. There's no preset scaling caps or anything like that. We have real risk managers. You know, Tom can attest to this as well. Real guys that are looking over your shoulder. The technology, he already mentioned TT. We have some other systems. These are low latency platforms that'll definitely increase, you know, at least make you more efficient while you're operating in the market. The fees he touched on, again, if you look around at these funded trader programs, you know, even in the simulated accounts and the real accounts for that matter, I was looking at one of them today to just get the numbers right. And I won't mention the name of the firm. It's very popular. You're looking at almost $5 a round turn per contract. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. When you're doing the type of size that a lot of guys at our firm are moving, that can literally be tens of thousands of dollars in commissions a week. It really can. And it can be the difference in a lot of times for a junior trader or someone who's just starting out. It can be the difference between maybe a break-even trader and someone who's just losing their ass because of those fees. So that's the other thing. Again, it's like the development. Okay, you pass these funded trader programs. Okay, you're still isolated. You still have no environment. You still don't have any big traders around you. You have nobody to really to talk to, and there's no accountability. So I think these things are really what define true proprietary trading. And it's like firms like ours, we need you to win. We need you to win because we're splitting profits. That's the core business model. We're not out here selling education. We're not out here you know, trying to just rack up subscription fees and trip you up with trailing drawdowns and all that stuff. And as a matter of fact, Tom mentioned this earlier, but if you know, and there will be details about the assessment coming out. We want to make sure that it's, you know, 100% before launching it. But if you come in and you take our assessment, it doesn't matter. There's no pressure clock. It doesn't matter if it takes you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 9 months, whatever. If you come in and you pass the assessment, we will refund your fees with your first payout on the desk. No questions asked. It's already included. We don't care about your fees, right? So that's number one. And something else that we're doing that I've personally not seen anyone doing is that your first quarter million with us, we are not taking a profit split at all.
That's incredible.
So yeah. So if you look at those things, and happy to answer any questions. I mean, I see all the the questions coming in here. Open to US, totally open. Um,
It is remote, Ryan. We didn't touch on that. It is actually remote.
it's remote at the moment, and we are, we're taking traders from anywhere. And by the way, you guys have asked this a number of times. The spelling of RAIN is RAEN, Rayen Trading. So RAEN.
For those asking for the link, it's in my bio. If you go on Twitter.
It's on Twitter. We have the website, the landing page up right now. It's just raintrading.com. You can check that out. And as a matter of fact, right now, that's the website. We've had this, let's say, request invite up for a while. We have on our Twitter, we have the link to the senior trader position. So if any of you guys actually meet the qualifications for the senior trader position, by all means apply for that. We are actively recruiting senior traders to trade on the desk right now. So if you have a track record, send it in. We will. We are actively looking for guys, and we found quite a few guys through personal networks and stuff. A couple, got some killers on the desk. But the fact is, we need more guys. We need more people on the desk. We're trying to grow this thing here. So we'll be working with you to scale up as quickly as possible. But since you're just coming straight out of an assessment, we need to understand your trading a bit more. I also saw a tweet the other day that said, I think I even responded to it, where the ultimate goal, this is coming from a trader on Twitter. He said something to the effect of the ultimate goal, and he listed out a number of prop firms, maybe like 10 or 15 of these, is to manage, 300K here, 400K at this one. And it's like, that's not the ultimate goal, guys. It's not the ultimate goal to manage, 15 accounts across a patchwork of firms. Trading, it's just not the way. It's just not the way, guys. So, but that's the way that we've been conditioned, and we're here to change that. So,
well, essentially, if things are a lot easier, if you're just trading with one firm, you've got the support from that firm, they know you're trading, and they can scale you up aggressively based on your performance and work with you. If you've got the talent, a good firm is just going to scale you very quickly.
By the way, I see a couple of questions here. UK citizens, yep, you guys are available. We're basically open to anyone around the globe at the moment. I mean, there are a couple of odd places, I believe Russia we can't accept traders from, but for the most part, most traders are welcome. Desk is based in the US. We are a US-based company. And we are a remote firm. I see this question a few times, so I'm not sure if you got that, Finn, but we're a remote firm now. Yeah, it is futures for now. For any of you guys who come through the assessment, it's going to be futures. We do have the ability to trade spot and FX on the senior desk, but we're implementing. We'll have new products eventually as well. It says round trip fees. Is there a minimum round trip requirement? No, there's not. There's not, Ryan. Now, of course, so what we're doing in that's actually a really good question. Yeah, Martin, Denmark as well. It's a good question, Ryan. And it's, look, we have essentially two desks. And the reason we have two desks is they're basically separated by volume. So we have a senior desk and a junior desk. They'll have the same rates, right? So we have the CME member rates across both desks, but we're subsidizing the junior desks from our own accounts and stuff. So essentially what that means is that if you're trading, a 2 lot or a 5 lot and you're on the junior desk, or even 10 lots, for example, at a certain point, once you reach a certain threshold of volume, let's say it's, around 3,000 to 5,000 contracts is probably where you start to go into more of the intermediate senior desk because the volume is just so much better there. But it doesn't matter. We're giving everybody the same rates and we're just subsidizing them. So that's why it doesn't it won't change for you, Ryan. We have Antonio asked, the owner behind the company. I'm the founder, owner of the company. I have a managing partner as well. So we're funding the company. We have a access deep capital pools behind us as well. Okay. Anything else? Crypto, not yet. No crypto. But you can trade crypto futures. I know it's not the answer you want to hear, but you have Bitcoin and Ethereum futures on the CME. Scott, yeah, if your application is rejected, you can absolutely join the assessment for sure. I mean, that's why we're setting it up.
Tom, your question, I'm just answering on behalf of Ryan here, but so a proven track record isn't essential. Yes, you could take the assessment and pass it and get a place on the desk, but if you've got a proven track record of 2 years, then obviously you'll be just immediately transitioned to a live account.
Yep, that's correct. Let's see here. Yeah, awesome. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find us. That's Rain Trading, RAEN trading.com. If you're interested in applying for us, again, look at the Twitter. There is a senior trader position. It requires a profitable track record of 2 years and a degree XYZ. But if you don't meet that, fill in the information on the website. We are looking at every single application. It's taken us a while to get through everything. It's just been seen a lot of you guys on there. So I'm noticing some of your names as well. So we are actively looking at this. So if you're interested in the assessment as well, just throw your name in there because we're going to be getting back to every single person. The evaluation, Miguel, it's not finalized, but it should be somewhere around the $300 a month mark. And why is that? Because, again, something that I talked about earlier, it's when an evaluation is like $30, nobody cares, right? We don't want you to have 10 accounts. We don't need you to have 5, 6, 7 accounts here. All we want you to do is have one account. If you can pass, we will scale you up. It's just that. You can start fresh. Jump. You can send your statements on raintrading.com. Just click request invite, or you can reach out. You can reach out to me on Twitter. We'll get you connected with one of our team. Profit split is 80-20 starting out. 80% to the trader, obviously. Yeah, there's going to be, Amish, there's going to be an update on the website regarding the assessment in the next, I'd say, probably week and a half, 2 weeks. Camille, if you join as a senior trader, we do have some positions that are salaried positions. If you're a senior. On the junior desk, it's not salaried. Okay, I think that's about it. Tom?
Yeah.
I'm going to hop.
Cool. Yeah, I think that explains everything. If you want to apply to Rain, the link is in my bio.
Wesley, will have all the metrics to pass the assessment. It's going to be very straightforward. Again, just to reiterate, there's not going to be any of these bullshit gimmicks. There's not going to be trailing anything. There's no trailing drawdowns, no trailing max drawdowns, no consistency targets, no rules against, so I can't make or you can't make 50% of the profit target in a certain day. None of that stuff. You'll be able to hold overnight, which is something a lot of firms don't offer. We'll use CME maintenance margins for position sizing, so it is realistic since you will be able to hold overnight as well. The simulated commissions and fees in the assessment are going to be nominal. I'm talking 30 to 40 cents for micros and maybe 60 to 80 cents for full contracts. And on the desk, they'll be lower than that.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between that and what's currently out there is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, we didn't want the reason that someone can't pass an assessment to be the simulated fees. Like, that's just not what we're looking for. We're trying to identify raw talent. So if you can make it through, we will require more consistency than, some of these other, 5-day evaluations. But again, it's because we're going to invest in you guys when you get onto the desk. This is not a churn and burn model. We don't care about your subscription fees.
Yeah, Camille, definitely. A lot of these accounts are just eaten up by fees, especially if you're a scalper.
Yeah, and we saw Jimmy. Platforms are you using? So on the desk, a lot of the guys, it depends. There's different platforms that are available. Rival Systems is one. TT is another. Sierra Chart, a lot of guys are using. It really doesn't matter. You can use. We'll work with you. If there's a certain platform that you're tied to, we'll work with you on that. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Hope to see you there.
Now you're just back with me. Still looking at this Bitcoin chart. All right, Ledges. So, again, just to recap you on what we're going to do going forward. So, I'm going to be posting examples of my playbook to the website. So, I will try to record as many of the trades I take. I don't always have the recorder on at the right time, like you saw in the crude oil. I told you where the order was going to go in. By the time I got to my desk, I was already filled, and it was like about an hour after the fill. But you'll be able to see where I got in, and most times I'm sure you'll be able to see the actual execution take place. And I'll build out that playbook so you can see many different examples of how I trade. But I think, like we covered earlier in EFL, many of them you've already seen, so it will just be cementing them in your head so you can see the types of plays that I make. And I'll try to get bullish and bearish examples, so longs and shorts, for each of the playbook setups. And it should be a really good resource. I'll leave you now by just saying once again a really special thanks to you all for joining EFL, and for a lot of you that didn't know me and that never even heard of me and that perhaps joined based on the fact that they'd seen somebody else say it would be good. Thank you guys in particular, because it takes a real leap of faith to put your trust in anyone and pay them your hard-earned money to show you how they trade, because there's a lot of manure out there, quite frankly. So, again, thank you, and I hope that you've learned something from this, taken something away from it. But as I said at the beginning, and at the risk of repeating myself, which I often do, if you take one thing away, it is to work on your process, understand your edge, and just be patient and wait for exactly what you want to see. And don't feel that need to jump into every market move. It's absolutely okay to stand aside from things that don't fit your criteria. And as I've shown you from my results, you don't have to trade every day. Again, I've traded 6 days out of 21, and I pulled out a fairly respectable return of 11R with 1R drawdown. Now, it's only a month. You want to be able to do that consistently, month in, month out, but you can do it. And I've been doing it for a long, long time. So you can do it, but you do have to be picky. And I'm hoping there isn't anyone in here that doesn't realize by now exactly how picky I am. I will just wait, and I will wait, and I'll wait some more. But when it feels right, you've got to pull the trigger, and you've got to execute on it. And that's where a lot of people fail. But once you know what you want, where you want it, when you want it, you've got to step up, take the trade, and just submit to the process. And don't expect too much. You know, I was talking to a few people on Twitter today that were talking to me about the crude oil trade, and they were saying, oh, it's moving nicely towards the target, what a great trade. You know, and already I was sweating, you know, like I was applying for a backup dancer with P. Diddy. And I'm saying to them, listen, relax, just relax, don't expect anything. Yes, it's moving towards target, but it might turn back on you. Just chill out, watch your risk, trail your stops accordingly, see what happens. Am I a little disappointed that I only got 1.23R and that we didn't trade to the other side of the inside day? A little bit, but that's okay. We'll wait to strike again. I've still got to get even with dollar Canadian, remember. Although there's a relationship to dollar Canadian there. So I feel like I've given dollar CAD a little slap. But I'll be waiting for retribution. I fully intend to spank it. It owes me 1R and it's fucking paying me 1R, at least. You got to take your money back with interest. And it doesn't matter that I'm ahead of the game in general. All that matters is that dollar Canadian took 1R of my money and I'm taking it back. That's all that matters. So, again, thank you so much. Watch the playbook grow, and I wish you all the best for the rest of October and for the months to come until possibly one day I do EFL again. Don't hold your breath as to when that might be. Maybe 2025, maybe 2026. I'm sure I'll do it again at some point if I haven't ridden off into the sunset to find missing people. And hopefully I see some of you guys on the desk at Rain, because it will be very good to see you there. And I'm sure you'll enjoy me picking up the phone to you and shouting at you if you make any kind of mistake. Cheers, ledges. I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good one. Thank you so much again.